streaming from the ABC Action Weather Center in Studio A. This is Dennis Phillips Live Plus. Brought to you by CMK Construction, crafting Tampa's most exquisite bathrooms and kitchens.
All right, everybody, I'm meteorologist Greg D. We've made it to the third day in a row now of me filling in on DPL this week. How's everybody doing? If you're watching, where are you watching from? Are you watching on the Spot 66? Let us know in the comments on the Facebook. We're also streaming on Facebook to be a part of the conversation. We've got folks already coming in here. I promised shout outs if you tell me where you're watching from. Marianne is watching from Tallahassee. That is the first one. By the way, Marianne, I typically wear my FSU jacket. I got to tell you, we had AC issues in the building. They got a chiller, so like an external unit, giant. This thing came in on a flatbed. Put it in our parking lot. The chiller's not doing well. It is really warm in here. I've got a fan on me, but it's got to be at a distance so the mic doesn't pick it up. No jacket today. It's way too hot out there. Kind of enjoying the breeze and just a shirt. So Marianne, hello to you. Ryan Anderson, hey buddy. We got Teresa from Hudson watching as well. Anna Maria is watching from Largo. Julie says hello to Greg and the Chatters. We've got Amanda in Spring Hill, Prudy in Spring Hill. Love Spring Hill. A couple schools I visit there on regularly. Sean from Lake Wales. What a great little downtown. Had a great visit there a couple of years ago. Great lunch downtown. Awesome place. Polk State right there in Lake Wales. Beautiful community. Mary Roberts getting right to You're going to have to wait, Mary. She wants to see, what are your socks? What are your socks? What socks did you wear? So if you saw me earlier, I was in my burgundy kind of FSU colored suit. I had the garnet and gold thing going today. Love that combo, by the way. So my socks kind of match that. One of those colors is in my socks, but it really has nothing to do with garnet and gold or FSU. Stay tuned for that. Ryan's watching from Tampa. Amy from Sebring. Got some showers around you this evening. Ryan from Seminole. Yeah, it is toasty. Ryan Chapman. Teresa from Bradenton. Wow, we've got everybody covered on here tonight. Brandon, in Brandon, Julie Edwards is watching. Yeah, we get it. It's hot. I know, y'all, right? I mean, maybe the AC is just struggling. You know, maybe there's nothing wrong with it. It's just saying, forget this. I was not made for this. I understand. I understand. I'm not even going to blame the AC. You know, this is too much. Connie's watching from Oldsmar. Guy from Fort Meade. Wow. Randall from Amarillo, Texas. All right. I've never spent much time in Texas. I lived in Arkansas, though, so we travel down to the Dallas-Fort Worth area all the time. Quick travel tip, if you ever go to Dallas, leave immediately and go to Fort Worth. That is the soul, the character, the heart of North Texas. Dallas is a horrible place of concrete. It's the Los Angeles of North Texas. I said it. It's not a nice place. Fort Worth, however, it took me forever to realize that because all my friends would always want to go to Dallas. Fort Worth is where the heart of North Texas is. The stockyards, the cowboy culture, it is amazing. Great city. Highly recommend. Barry's in Lakeland, Debbie's in Riverview, Francine in Dundee, Kim from Treasure Island. I'm skipping through a bunch of you because there's just too many. What is a forequake? Marilyn already asking. Yeah, we're going to talk about earthquakes here. Russ and Holiday, Susie from the Palm Coast. All right. I love that. On vacation. And you're still watching, Susie. That's so nice. Thank you. Anna is over in Pasco County. All right. So many of you just chiming in. Charlotte says, don't hate on Dallas. I'm not hating on Dallas, Charlotte. It's just not my favorite. And when you put it next to a city that's better, yeah, I said it. That's just how I feel. Spent a lot of time down there, and I was introduced to Fort Worth. I think I'm just salty about it way too late. Before we have to hit our first break, and already take a break, let's talk about the weather. Let's start off with some good news. And I think you guys are really going to be happy to see this. Now, I know, heat advisories. You're thinking, what's so happy about that? Listen. These are the ones for tomorrow. And notice, there are fewer counties included. There are some of you that I gave a shout out to, thinking about Sebring. You're not under heat advisory tomorrow. Highlands, Hardee, DeSoto, Manatee, and Sarasota are not under a heat advisory yet. Now, The Weather Service does reevaluate this every few hours, so these could be extended farther south, either later tonight, overnight, or with an update tomorrow morning. But right now, the Weather Service is being optimistic. They're thinking only Pinellas, Hillsborough, Pasco north in terms of heat advisories. They might not be necessary farther south. I'm going to take that as a win. Things are trending slowly in the right direction. Now, this evening, we are still tracking storms. Anybody watching from Lakeland, tell me about the storm you just had. I mean, it was right over the city. Any chance Cookie will make an appearance? Maryland, getting distracted, squirrel, just like Cookie would. I am not allowed to bring my dog into the building. I'm not allowed to bring my family into the building. I'm not allowed to bring anyone that's not an employee into the building. So no, unfortunately not. Maybe I can sneak, you know what? I'm gonna sneak a picture of her, put her on the Facebook page, and then we'll do it that way. But I can't do a live appearance, apparently. I cannot do it. Denis says, hey, Greg and DPL fam. Hey, Odessa in the house. Amy, we don't get included. Oh, you're hoping you don't get included in the heat advisories? Yeah, I would be too. Anyway, Lakeland folks, anybody here talking about this thunderstorm right now? It's collapsing in the way, that's a fancy sciencey term. I don't know if you can see this, but there is, you know I love my arrows. There is, where's my pointy arrow? I don't know where my pointy arrow is. It's not, there it is, I found it. There's this little green line coming out of this storm right now. That is the outflow boundary. The storm is literally collapsing. Cool gust of air heading into Plant City now. This thing was over Lakeland. There's gotta be some flash flooding somewhere, or at least some ponding on I-4 or downtown. This rain was really, really heavy earlier this evening. That storm is collapsing. Now we've got storms. Is it Juanita? Over towards the Juanita community, Bartow, Lake Wales, frost-proof. Radar's picking up a little bit of rain. That's certainly good news. My friends in Highlands County, I haven't seen much here. There's a little downpour west of Sebring. And then near the coast, Sarasota, Manatee, most of Hillsborough, except that northeast corner, Pinellas, Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, I got nothing. All the rain is back toward mainly the east. That's where most of the rain is tonight. As you look at the forecast for the rest of the evening, that rain should die down. Now, yesterday, the model was showing that too, and then we got that surprise yesterday evening. There was, you know what, I'm going to blame it on the earthquake. There's no relation, but I'm going to blame it on the earthquake. Let's start a conspiracy theory. The earthquake, it's like the butterfly. You know, it's that butterfly flapping its wings on the other side of the world. It creates a hurricane in the Atlantic. Okay, the earthquake in Russia created the thunderstorm in Hillsborough County last night. There's got to be. That storm in southern Polk just held it together. And it stayed all the way west into Hillsborough County. I was up till 1:15. First, I was updating on the earthquake. So much content, videos, posts, and then these thunderstorms pop up just as I'm getting to bed. So I have to get back on the computer, do more posts, because I know you folks were probably getting woken up by this thing. Yeah, 1 a.m., Julie, it was heavy. 1/10 of an inch in South Lakeland. Francie, that is not a lot. Hopefully, folks to your north got a lot more. Cheryl, I don't think Venice is going to get any rain out of this. Tomorrow morning, 70s and 80s, and I do think there'll be some rain coming back tomorrow, but not as much as today, even though we didn't get much today. So high temperatures tomorrow into the mid-90s. You better believe it, that heat index back in the triple digits. But honestly, let's talk about this. A heat index of 101, 103, 104 in the end of July. Y'all, that ain't bad. That is not bad at all. I think that's actually pretty normal for this time of year. In terms of rainfall, there will be a couple of showers along the coast, I think early tomorrow. We had a couple today, and then those are going to shift towards 75 early in the afternoon, and then east, and there's not much east, for later tomorrow evening. All right, got to take my first break. For those of you on the spot, stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, spot folks are rolling on the break. How's everybody doing? It was wicked last night in Wesley Chapel. Wicked, I love that. Are you from Massachusetts or Rhode Island, maybe? Wicked bad, wicked bad. I've heard that a lot. Break time. Hey from Spring Hill. Hey, Katie. Yeah, the earthquake, Jamil. Jamil, man, that's the what's it called? The sixth man, the MVP of the bench, because he was sending me all kinds of videos and updates while I was working on other updates. We were working together. He was up in Trinidad helping me posting videos and info on the earthquake, which was upgraded to 8.8. So that is a massive quake. We'll talk about that here coming up. I think we're going to do the tropics next, and that's just because so we can get a little sciencey there towards that last segment. Maybe maybe do a little bit of that sciencey stuff. So let's set up the weather computer for a little bit of tropics. Got about 30 seconds here. I'm going to skip through some of these graphics, you guys, and go right to the tropics. All right, a little behind the scenes, 20 seconds for the folks on the spot. Somebody remind me at, when should we do that next break? It's going to be quick. Let's do it at 7:46. That'll give me time to do a little bit more of the sciencey stuff. So 7:46 in the chat, please. Remind me about the break. Cats and dogs in Lakeland. Yeah, Barry. Man, that storm really hung around. All right, if you're watching on the spot, welcome back. That was our first break. 2 more to go. Next one coming up about 7:46 is what I'm thinking. So 5 minutes from now. Let's get to the tropics. A little bit more buzz today. Now, I didn't fan it, but I recognized it. And I can see why there's some buzz, but I don't think there's anything to worry about just yet. So the Gulf and the Caribbean are fine. The Atlantic is mostly fine as well. Now, there are a couple of waves out here, and some of the buzz initially was about this little cluster. There's actually a couple of weak areas of low pressure in here. Listen, these things, so I'm gonna keep the pointer right there, and then look at this. This is where the Saharan dust is. It is literally right where the waves are. So they are going to get caught up in this dust all around them, and they're just not going to be able to do much as they generally head towards the island. So those waves, let's see if I can draw this. You guys know I love my arrows. So let's do a nice arrow. So they're going to track across the Atlantic like this and then start turning up here toward probably north of the Bahamas. I mean, there's not a towards the Bermuda Triangle is where they're going. I mean, that's the only geographical reference I have for that region is the Bermuda Triangle. That's where they're headed. This is going to be a fun show, folks. We're already talking about the Bermuda Triangle in the tropics. So it's basically a zone of nothing out there between Bermuda, the United States, and over towards. You probably didn't see that one coming. I did not have Bermuda Triangle on my bingo card for DPL today. And then it just kind of fizzles. There's going to be a frontal system that's going to be moving in off the East Coast. It's just going to be sitting out here. If something develops along that front or the two kind of mix, you could get a low pressure. The problem is that if anything does do that, well, the front is going to have it go like that out in the Atlantic. So not really a concern for us here. Kathy's asking how everybody's doing. How's everybody doing? We're doing all right. So let me show you what some of the models are showing. So we'll switch views here. I'm going to slide on over. You know what, guys? I'm going to take this full screen just because. Actually, can you see me? You can see me when I'm out here. I'm a little bit off to the side. I've got some models loaded. Let's actually. What do we got here? Let's load up today's satellite. Let's see what the Hurricane Center has. So there's, actually, this is a cool shot. Can I stop this in the beginning? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if this is, it is possible. Okay, all right, okay. So this is cool. I can go back and forth. I feel like I should be wearing my sciencey band all show today. This is actually really neat. You can see, I don't know if you guys can make this out on your TV. It is actually just as the model drew it. There is a little cloud of Saharan dust. You kind of see that tannish color right there? That's the dust. I mean, there's so much of it. You can literally see it on the satellite picture. And then you've got this wave down here that's trying to develop, but notice the dust is getting sucked into the west side of the wave. So yeah, the low pressure may be trying to form, but it's getting cut off. So, you know, good luck to that. I think this is great news, and the dust is going to follow the wave. That's why this one's not going to do anything. Now, beyond that, there is another wave over Africa that's going to be coming off right behind this one, and that's the one a lot of the models are looking at as we go into next week. So as we kind of flip through the models, let's actually look at these hour by hour. Actually, I loaded up the wrong ones. Stand by here with me because I do want to show you the Atlantic. So we'll just do the full Atlantic here. We're going to go out 14 days. We'll do the Euro first, and then we'll load up the GFS. And what you'll see here is that the models pick up the waves. The first one's going to be the GFS. Was that the GFS? No, the first one's the Euro. First one's the Euro. It picks up the wave down in the Atlantic. It kind of brings it towards very tattered, very disorganized. Remember, it's dealing with that dry air. There's nothing with it. This is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now, as you look into the weekend, the wave is here. Still nothing out of this. No tropical depression, no tropical storm. And then you guys see this green line here. That's a front. So this thing is not going to, the low is getting pulled up towards the front. It's not going to get pulled toward Florida. It's not going to get pulled from the United States. The front is kind of doing a block for us. So that wave just kind of gets absorbed into that front, and then it's done. The Euro does pick up. This is just a regular Euro on that next system down here. So now we're on Thursday, August 7th. Remember this map. Notice how from the regular Euro, there is really nothing out there, okay, from this particular output. It shows that little wave, maybe the beginnings or the suggestion of some weak low pressure east of Florida, but this would be August 11th, so we are in fantasy land. So in fantasy land, there could be a weak low pressure east of Florida on August the 11th. But what it's really showing is not like a tropical depression or even a tropical storm. It's just showing a little bit of shower activity. The big question is, what is it going to do? Drop my mic. What is it going to do after that? You'll have to stay tuned. Ooh, I got the focus. Do after that? You'll have to stay tuned. Slowly coming to life, slowly seeing these waves come up. Definitely a lot more Saharan dust out there than we saw last year at this time, which I think is why some of the numbers in the forecast were reduced. All right, Spot 66, folks, and the ABC Action News Plus channel. Welcome back. This is Denis Phillips Live. I'm meteorologist Greg D, filling in for Denis all week. We kind of sent you to a pretty good tease here before the break. We talked about that system out in the Atlantic, so let's talk about it. I got a request to go full screen, so we're going to go full screen. This is the Euro on August 11th, still not showing much out of this system. Now, I'm going to show you the GFS, but only quickly, and the reason I'm going to show it to you quickly, first of all, there are the waves that we're tracking now. This is Friday into Saturday. They're here, not doing anything. It's just a blob of green. Until you start seeing circles, black circles for areas of low pressure, you're not seeing any kind of system there. So I'm still not seeing anything. And notice, I'm going to take the GFS really quickly through August 10th, the 11th. Nothing. The GFS literally has nothing through August the 13th. How about this? How about the Euro is more aggressive with these systems this year than the GFS? That's a little bit unexpected. Now, there are, of course, other runs of the models. And this is where things start to look a little bit more interesting. So this is the Euro AI, the next 15 days. And what it's doing here is tracking areas of low pressure in all its different runs. So remember, when they run these models, they run something called the ensembles. So they take the Euro, AI or regular, they run it once. And then they run it again, but they tweak a couple things. Then they run it again and they tweak two more things. And then they tweak some more and run again. And you get multiple runs. And the reason we do these little tweaks is because, well, we are not really sure about the state of the atmosphere of the Atlantic. So just in case we don't have the right idea, let's tweak some of these numbers, adjust them up and down, pressure, dew points, winds, to try to see what happens if maybe the atmosphere is a little different than what we're actually thinking. And it is showing some low pressure tracks here in the blue. Now in the blue here, I think we'd be talking at tropical depression, weak tropical storm tracks, but it's got them all over the place, anywhere between the eastern Gulf off the east coast of Florida. Now, as you look at the latest regular Euro, this one doesn't go out that far, so let me go back to the one that was run last night. It is also indicating the potential for some areas of low pressure. I don't know if you guys can make it out here, but it is also east of Florida. This would be August the 13th, maybe a little cluster, some indication of some low pressures potentially there. This is the regular Euro, also indicating, yeah, there could be some low pressures there, but not as much. So The AI is definitely a little bit more aggressive in terms of these lows, and then this right here is the GFS. Yeah, no, this is the regular. This is the regular euro only out 10 days. So this is all going to be past 10 days is what it's where those potential low pressures are showing. Does that mean we're going to have a storm 10 days out? Remember, we're in fantasy land. I just don't think we are quite there yet in terms of where this is going to go. But we'll see. I think we're at kind of a we'll see category. We'll see what happens. I'm not concerned about it. There's really nothing there that I see right now. And honestly, this far out, I would expect some of these systems to start to develop. I would expect to start to see some activity in the Atlantic. So just because it's showing that, I'm not really too worried about it. All right, it is 7:52. One more break, and then we're going to get sciencey right after this. All right, one more break. We are running it. That's our third break. You guys keeping track? Third break. Are you guys able to see me on my preview? Oh, there it is. Okay. My preview was not working for a second, but it came back. All right. Fantasyland, my specialty, Jamil. So much Fantasyland out there. All right. You know what I got right here. Here we go. Let's load up. Let's load up the correct part of this show. You guys know the graphic I'm looking for. Here we go. Did it do it? Oh, it did it. Is my first graphic? It is. Oh, but I already see it needs adjustment. Uh-oh. Will I be able to adjust this fast enough? Let's see. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure why it's not. There it is. Okay. There it is. All right. I think it's doing it. All right. Got some explainer graphics ready. We got 20 seconds. I think those graphics are loaded. Let me make sure. We're going to sing a song. We're going to get sciencey. Lag between voice and video. Yeah, there's something happening. I can see the, I wonder if it's the heat affecting some of these computers. Streaming may be lagging a little bit. All right, 4 seconds. Let's wait for the folks on the spot. All right, welcome back. I'm meteorologist Greg D. You are back on Denis Phillips Live. We got about 4.5 minutes left of the show. Man, it really does fly by. So it's time to get sciencey, sciencey. I'm gonna get sciencey. We're not talking about the temperature, talking about the earth shaking. Shaking, 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 shaking. Okay, I just made it up on the fly. All right, here we go. Sorry, y'all. If your dogs are crying, I apologize. All right, let's get sciencey here. Let me actually, we're gonna take this full screen, but I'm gonna get past the silly graphic. All right, here we go. Actually, let's start with it full screen. So here we go. There we go. We're getting sciencey. Let's talk about that earthquake. By the way, that earthquake yesterday, significant. All right, 8.8. I'm not sure why. I think I'm clicking on the wrong one here. There's multiple circles. So this is kind of not a heavily populated area of Russia, by the way. I don't know how to pronounce the name of this peninsula, and I'm not going to try. I am Slavic, and I should know better how to pronounce these things, but I don't. So I'm not going to try to butcher a Russian name. They are very difficult. But we did see this earthquake yesterday, 8.8. By the way, this fault line here is very active. It produces some big quakes. So by the way, for reference, that right there is the island of Japan. We've got North and South Korea here. The Aleutian Islands that lead up to Alaska here. And then Canada on the corner of the screen. So that's in the northwestern Pacific. 8.8 makes it one of the top 10 strongest earthquakes ever recorded on the Earth. And it sent tsunami waves all over the place as the map spins around. We had tsunami warnings for a period in Hawaii. Those are now gone. And we even had them out on the west coast of the United States. There were some waves that moved through, but they were not as bad as we originally thought. So this is really interesting. So I had a question about this. You know, what's going on here? Why were there quakes there? So you see this. This is the Earth. Those purple lines are all the stitches in the surface of the Earth. The Earth's surface is like an eggshell. It literally is as thin as an eggshell with a liquid underneath. I'm gonna bring myself into this so you guys can see me as well in my headband, right? We got to go for the full effect. And these eggshell pieces, like a cracked egg, they float on this semi-fluid interior of the earth, and they move around and they rub around. So sometimes when you get an earthquake, in some places, the two pieces of the eggshell are splitting, moving apart. You're not going to get a tsunami. In other places, those eggshells are just rubbing up against each other, kind of like in California. You don't get tsunamis out of those quakes. But in other parts of the world, including on this fault line, which is in Russia, I wonder if I don't think I can actually stop this from spinning, but this fault line up here where we had the 8, one plate, one eggshell is getting pushed under another. And when you get an earthquake, the top plate goes up and it literally pushes the ocean up and it causes a wave to travel through the ocean. Kid you not, that wave travels at 900 miles per hour. But when you're in the ocean, it's about this big. You don't really see it until it reaches the coast. This is a great animation and a great way to end it. Those waves, as that energy pushes the ocean up, are very small. We can detect them. We have buoys in the Pacific. That's why there were warnings up. But they don't grow until you get to the shallower part of the ocean. And that's where the water literally gets pushed ashore and you get these tsunami waves. Luckily, the earthquake yesterday did not produce huge tsunami waves like we did in 2011 in the Banda Aceh, I see you, Diana, there, earthquake that killed more than 280,000 people. This one was not it, but it could have been. It was certainly close. Just 10 seconds left for those of you on the Spot 66 and the ABC Action News Plus. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to continue this right now on Facebook, so stay with us. All right, Facebook folks, it is just us. It's just you and me. Let's talk about this because the earthquake stuff I find very fascinating. And I actually had a question about this on my Facebook page. Someone asked, you know, why do meteorologists talk about geology? As a meteorologist, I am a member and a sealed member of the American Meteorological Society. That is the governing body of meteorologists. We actually have a governing body. They fund and do publish and check all the research that goes on in meteorology. They publish the papers, the research, they make sure it's correct, that it's peer reviewed. And one of the things they encourage us as TV meteorologists is to be the station scientist. Instead of having just a reporter who really has no science background at all, try to explain something, at least go to the meteorologist. Okay, I'm not a geologist, I'm not an oceanographer, but I'm more familiar likely with these topics and I may be able to explain them better than a reporter. And especially since I have access to these graphics, that may make it a little bit better. So yeah, I'm not trying to be an expert in geology. I am not. But I do understand as a kid that just loved science, I understand the basics of this. I think enough to explain how this works. So by the way, and you know, I'm going to stop this and we are going to just bring this graphic full screen. Since we're not on TV, I can play with this. Because one of the cooler things about, look, I can move the earth. Let's see. I can rotate this. All right, this is really cool. So you guys see here, and unfortunately I have no pointer abilities on this on this map. You see the Caribbean plate there. So if you're familiar, we've had giant earthquakes in Haiti. There's been earthquakes in the Dominican Republic, in Cuba, and in Puerto Rico, and all the Caribbean islands. There's a plate there. That plate does not typically move in a way to produce a tsunami. Technically, anywhere in the world where there is a beach, including Florida, you could technically, conceivably see a tsunami. I think a tsunami here, if we were to get one in Florida, which is, it's not a 0% probability, there is some probability here. It would be if there was some kind of landslide as a result of one of these earthquakes under the ocean that could send a wave toward Florida. But could a tsunami happen in Florida? Absolutely. Now, I think the south coast of the state and the east coast are more prone. Since we're facing the Gulf and there are no plates in the Gulf, it would be unlikely. It would have to be the dinosaur ending event that we saw that would cause a tsunami, but by then, it's not even a tsunami. It's much more serious. And then we have that plate in the central Atlantic. You see that too in this graphic. In that plate, the Atlantic is splitting. So North America and South America are moving west, while Europe and Africa are moving east. They're moving farther apart. So every day, Europe and Africa are farther away from North America and South America. It's why South America and Africa look like they fit together, because they did. They were once one piece and they've moved apart. So you have this seam in the middle of the ocean that is literally oozing lava. And there's earthquakes along there too, probably, but they're not going to cause tsunamis, which I think is interesting. Yeah, Jamil, Trinidad is on that plate. Jamil has Trinidad 150 years overdue for a major quake. What was the last big quake in Trinidad? Because you are far on that plate. But you're right, that plate extends into northern Venezuela too. So even portions of northern South America could see that. Very, very, very interesting. Now, there are smaller plates out there and smaller fault lines. I can think of the one near Charleston, South Carolina, not on this map. And then the one in Missouri, north of Memphis, the New Madrid Fault. That one produces massive quakes hundreds of years apart. And it is a real serious concern for geologists, I know, in the central mid-south of the United States. That one is a real concern. Oh my gosh, Mary, I forgot about the socks. All right, you guys ready? 6'9", a 6'9", that's pretty good. All right, here we go. I don't know if I can do this. There they are. You guys see this? So these are Reese's Peanut Butter Cup socks. But they kind of have like a brownish burgundy color to them. This is the most ridiculous. Can somebody get a screen grab of this, please, and send this to Denis? This is what I do. I'm literally doing this. I feel like I'm in an 80s stretch video right now doing my leg stretches with this. Oh my goodness, what do you guys have me doing? This is just crazy. It's just, how does this, I have such good sciencey plans every day, and it just always goes to kindergarten, doesn't it? And I love it for that. I absolutely love it for that. So those were the tectonic plates, all the little eggshells. And this was I know we went through that very quickly, but I do like the way this graphic shows this. So you see that fault line. This is kind of what was happening off the coast of Russia. One piece of the earth is going under the other. And because it's jagged, it's not smoothly sliding under, right? The little nooks and crannies, the rocks, they lock up. They lock up and the force is there and it just keeps pushing until eventually there's so much force. And I'm sure you've done this with something where you're trying to pull two things apart and you're pulling and nothing is happening. And finally you give it one strong pull and it comes apart so quickly that you almost fall over, right? This is the kind of thing that we're dealing with here. The plates lock in because the rocks are jagged. They're locked in, and suddenly there's so much force pushing them past each other that the whole thing snaps and it literally moves. It lurches forward. In California, it lurches horizontally. So you just get a very horizontal shape, no tsunami. Here, one of these plates lurches up. And if it's under the ocean, the water that's above that plate also lurches up. And you get this piece of energy, this little wave that forms, literally a little hill of water, and it starts to spread away from where that happened. It starts to move away at 900 miles an hour. So this is fast. This is why the quake, happened in Russia. I don't know, what was it local time here for us? 7:30, 8 o'clock. And by 1 o'clock in the morning, the waves were going to be in Hawaii, and just a couple of hours later, they were going to be in California. I mean, literally, this wave is flying through. Laura, I love how Greg can switch from silly to type A on a dime. Some kind of multiple personality thing I've got going on. I'm not sure. It just goes like that. I don't know where that comes from. So anyway, that wave spreads, and the buoys can detect it. We've got a network of buoys in the Pacific. There's actually a whole center, the Pacific Earthquake Tsunami Warning Center. And you go to their map, I don't know. Can I put links in this? Let's see. Let's see if I can. You guys can. Pacific. Okay, there it is. I'll post this because this is a government site. This is the United States. Now remember, the reason why the United States is running this is we clearly have interests about earthquakes. I know the earthquakes are in Asia and Russia, but we've got Guam. What are they? I think the Mariana Islands, Marianas. Somebody remind me of the islands out there. Hawaii and of course Alaska, and then the west coast of the United States, all exposed to these potential tsunamis. And if you look up the history, there have absolutely been damaging and deadly tsunamis in Alaska and Hawaii. One I remember, I think it was in the 60s, was in Alaska after the big quake. I mean, people were running uphill. Or the Alaskan quake that caused the tsunami down in Hawaii, where people were literally running from the water. It was an incredible wave that came in. Jamil's teaching about tsunamis too. Let's see, and Jamil's not a geologist either, but he's a science nerd like me, so he's into this. So the water goes up and then it goes forward, and then as that wave approaches the coast, as the ocean gets shallower, the energy can no longer be contained under the surface of the ocean, so it starts to lift the water up. And this isn't just one wave, this is a series of waves, and the farther you are away from the epicenter of the earthquake, the more time there is between each wave. So one wave might come in. Terry says it destroyed Hilo. Yeah, Mariana Islands. Betty, thank you. The Mariana Islands. That is an American property. Yeah, as the waves come in, each one pushes the ocean more and more forward. So you can get a series of these waves. I know by the time they got to the West Coast, some of the advisories said that it might be 10, 15 minutes between waves. So you may see the first wave come through and thinking, oh, that's not bad. And they don't want you to, go back saying, okay, it's safe now. It's not safe. There may be another wave coming in. All right, Dennis is in the house. Where's Dennis? What is Dennis asking? Is Dennis? Sorry, Dennis, I missed you if you're in here. I did probably make some posts on people's pages. I'm not sure what posts you guys are asking about. Actually, I don't know why I don't see. You guys are saying Dennis is in the house, but I do not see Dennis in here. Maybe it's not showing me Dennis. I'm not sure. All right. Yes, I do post on Dennis's page, if that's the question. So for instance, last night, thunderstorms, radar loops, that was me posting. I was actually logged in from my house, and I had our weather computer screen on my computer screen at home, and I could run the software from here and post to all of our pages. Oh, I posted the link under Dennis. Yeah, so, okay. Okay. Important note. So what is happening here is I am using a software called Restream.io. I am logged into my Facebook page, Dennis's Facebook page, Dennis's YouTube page, and his Instagram. And I see all of the chat from all of those places in one column. So I don't know where you guys are talking to me from. I mean, I know Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, but I don't know which page you're on. And when I post a comment, it goes to all 4 of those things at once. So it posts as Dennis or me. If you're watching it on my page, you will see the link posted as Greg D. If you're watching this on Dennis' page, then you're going to see, it looks like Dennis posted it, but it was me doing the posting here. So I know. I've been doing, this is the eighth show I'm doing, and I just figured out this is why you guys are confused. Dennis is not in the chat. It's me posting as Dennis through this software because it is streaming to Dennis's Facebook page. But if you switch over to my page and watch it there, Greg D. Weather, you'll see the same chat message with the link, but now it'll be from Greg D. So that is what is happening. All right. 1960 tsunami, yeah, from the Alaska quake. Yeah, there were some big ones. Oh yeah, and by the way, I mean, somebody asked about the 4 quake. There was an earthquake in that same location off the coast of that peninsula in Russia 9 days before. It was a 7.4. And because we didn't know that this 8.8 was coming, it was just considered to be a major quake. 7.4 is a significant quake. But it turned out that was a 4 quake. It was a shadow. It was pre-shadowing? What's the foreshadowing? Foreshadowing. It was foreshadowing the 8.8 quake, which is actually kind of amazing because I wonder if that 7.4 didn't happen, if we didn't get that earlier release of energy, would this 8.8 be stronger? Could that have been a 9.2, a 9.3? And what's interesting is when you look at, and I have the earthquake intensities pulled up right now. This starts at 2, 3, 4. I like this graphic because it tells you how many of each intensity do you see any one year. So notice 2s, they're about 1 million per year. You don't feel those. 3s, about 100,000. 4s, about 10,000. 1,500 5s. And then you start getting into the rare events once you get above 5. So 6, 120 per year. So 1 every 2 to 3 days. 7, 18 per year. 8, just 1 per year. And the 9, 1 every 10 years. Near total destruction. And as you go from 6 to 7 to 8 to 9, each time you increase 1 full number on the Richter scale, I believe the amount of energy released goes up by a factor of over 31. So a 7 releases 31 times more energy than a 6. It's not just like 15%, it's a whole lot. So when you start going from 7.1 to 7.2 to 7.3 to 7.4, huge increases in destruction. The difference between a 7.0 and a 7.9, miles apart, night and day in terms of the destruction. So you really don't want anything higher. When that thing was upgraded from 8.7 to 8.8 yesterday, that's actually a significant upgrade in the intensity. How do I know that we don't know. Maryland, we do not know. We do not know that the 8.8 is yet not another 4 quake to another bigger quake. We don't know that. That is the difficult part about this, is that we have, I feel lucky as a meteorologist. I have a way to predict things at least 5 days out pretty accurately. There's very little in terms of predicting storm activity or earthquake activity 10 days out, 9 days out. Geologists are able to predict volcanic activity based on earthquake activity, like we talked about Mount Rainier the last time I was here filling in. They're not able to do that about earthquakes. They're trying to figure out, there are some, I believe there's some studies that show that there could be some energy waves released before the big energy release that actually does the destruction. And there may be a few minutes of warning that we can give to some communities, but it would be just literally minutes, like 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. It wouldn't be like days. So basically it's just earthquake, hide, is what we might be able to do. Maybe the technology will get better one day. I'm not sure. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Y'all, it is 8:15 already. We've had another fun evening. I know there's a dog waiting for me. Vinny's waiting for me. Dinner's waiting for me, so I'm going to get some food. Let's do one more check of the radar before I go. I don't want to leave anybody hanging here with a thunderstorm nearby. So let's see what's going on here. Just Polk County. Okay, Polk and Pasco, nothing too big. 122 lightning strikes in that whole view in the last 30 minutes. That's nothing. We got this. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you so much for another great DPL. I don't have anything lined up sciencey for tomorrow, so we'll see what the weather and nature will bring. I'm sure we'll find something. You guys have a great night.